Hello, August. How are you? It's Past Podcast. We'll be recording every day for the month of August. Having to remember not to say April is an adjustment since I just did this a couple of months ago. But this is the past, or the Past Podcast. And we're podcasting each day in August. So check out the show. You might find something new. What's good, y'all? Episode 122 of The Past. I'm your host, BT. Kind of gonna have a little subtle, relaxing episode tonight. I was a little bit excited on the first one, but I'm gonna kind of keep it down and keep it a little simple. Kind of had to close it a little differently, and then some stuff didn't come out right, so I had to kind of do a redo. So this is a quick, pushed heavily take 2. Episode is recorded using the Blue Yeti microphone. All episodes, as of right now, are on the Blue Yeti. And you will, if you want to go back and listen to any previous episodes, you can go to Spreaker.com. I usually try to make sure that I have that link shared for everyone to check out. And also, I don't want to forget, because I have talked about it, and I think it's a good resource. If you do want to listen to actual shows and go back and really archive and kind of get some information here and there about me and just kind of chill out a little bit and read some, get a few blogs into pastpodcast.com. I have learned or finally working to utilize that resource as a place to kind of share some episodes for the podcast. So I'm not going to be too heavy. I'm not going to be too extreme. I'm just going to get right into it for episode 122. And that is today's episode of today's topic for podcast every day in August. We're getting to the home stretch, and I want to talk about something that I think a lot of people take for granted, but it's something we have to remember, and that is you have to use what I call the work switch. Well, I'm gonna call it. I kind of just came up with this and just nodded this name, so it's gonna work for this moment, and y'all know I got a method to my madness, but I'm gonna call it the light switch of life, or the switch of life. On the everyday average light switch, unless you have a light switch knob, there are 2 settings. There's off and there's on. I know that's kind of like an obvious, direct way of saying it, but I feel as though it's not thought about or really looked at as clearly as we think. But there are 2 switches that apply in life when it comes to our daily routine for most people. Now, everyone doesn't have a job, so this may be different for everyone. Because it's literally a way of looking at it as one end of the switch is your personal, the other end of the switch is your business. Now, as I mentioned, everyone does not work for someone. You have some who are independently owned, or they have their respective job that they put their time and their energy into. So it's mainly the theory and the logic of, okay, I'm at work, so I need to focus on work. Let me turn off personal. Or in my personal life, unless it's something that I have to do related to my job, I need to turn off my work life. Is that easy to do? Is it something that people are going to do every single day? Absolutely not. Let's be honest. Let's be clear. Let's not act like this is some new rodeo or something that just happened overnight. Most people who have a tendency to work in certain circumstances, and I've seen this at my current place of employment, where something will happen at home, and whatever that at-home situation is trickled into their job, or it's trickled into an event that's work related, and you're supposed to be having a good time at that work-related event, but you're busy engulfed in something that's non-work related. And I'm not going to sit and say it's about priorities. It's just you have to put all of the pieces into play when thinking about this. Sorry, I told y'all. I say it every time. Normally I had a fan turn to me, but I'm sticking to my plan. I'm not going downstream. But I truly, I'll give this story, and this will put it as clear as day as I can and mention it, and how I've experienced it and how I've said it to people. I had someone who I previously worked with. I'm still technically still working with that person, just we're in different departments now. But she would come to work, and I'm sorry, before I continue, this might be one of the few times that if you normally have kids listening to podcasts, you may not want them to listen to this one, because I'm going to be pretty blunt and honest in what I'm about to say. But she would come to work, and there would be, oh, I got this going on, I'm dealing with that at home, I got this happening and that's happening and X, Y, and Z. And I had to come clean and tell her, like, listen, this is not personal, this is nothing towards you, but it's something that you got to learn in working here or just working as a whole. And that is, when you swipe your badge, or when you surpass that threshold of coming into work, you need to leave all of your fucks at the door. And I said it just like that. And it was a message that I shared with her, but it was something that I learned. And I kind of got away from that, or I have been known to get away from that a little bit the past couple of months. And I kind of got reeled back into that as a reminder in an interview I had today. Because when you're dealing with customers, or when you're dealing with people, even in independent-based employment, you find yourself taking a lot of it personal that you shouldn't take personal. Is that right? Absolutely not. Does it happen? Absolutely. We're human. Sitting and controlling our angers to that extreme or in that regard, that's a tall order. That being said, you still have to learn and remember that is one of the most important switches to manage. And that is the personal switch. Like, taking moments personal with people is never a fun thing. And to add to that, and to kind of give you an even more balanced perspective, because sometimes we forget this, and I always use this as the exception to the rule. If you like, some people define it as story time, where you may tell stories about what you've experienced in your line of work. That's different. But when you are just complaining and fussing and flailing about things that you're not changing or enhancing to make better, there's no benefit in doing that. Like, it's okay to be frustrated about what you're doing, but find an outlet that's random and something that's different. I've caught myself finally beginning to learn to revert back to gaming. Gaming has been my outlet. My secret cheat code outlet that very few people know of is writing. Sitting and just writing, best thing in the world. A lot of times if I take breaks at work, I'm known for putting on some music. I'll put on my big headphones like I'm wearing now and just zone out for a little bit, because you don't want to hear anyone, you don't want to hear anything, you don't want to say nothing wrong, you don't want to sit here and play the whole eggshells or anything. You just need that minute to just put some good music on, play a decent playlist, and just chill out. And it's okay. So I'm doing this as a quick podcast, and I'm also doing this with probably the podcast after dark voice. But I truly, I'm really becoming a stickler and telling people and getting folks to understand there are two sides of the switch. And if you want to be technical, there's two light switches. So I'm going to do it in both manners. There's the personal and work switch. One side of the switch is personal, the other side is work. Turn on your work switch, that means personal goes away. Turn on your personal switch, work goes away. And then there's the other side of it where you may have, sorry, I hope I don't lose it. Alright, cool. There's the other side of it where it's for your personal life, turn your switch off and on. And then for the work switch, turn your switch off and on. Moments can occur where both switches can be turned off. That's the true moment when you have peace of mind. To jump to elaborate on that a little bit more. If you turn on work and turn on personal, you want to turn on the right switch for the right time. Meaning that if you're at work, if the personal switch is on, it's okay to have it that way, but don't have the personal switch on in a moment that it shouldn't really be on. Especially if there's something you're trying to work on and something you're trying to get completed. And that's what I'm going to leave y'all with tonight. I know I was making a point and then the point flew. Use the switches lightly. Use your thoughts lightly as to which light switch you're gonna have on. And that's literally what I'm gonna have as the image for the podcast. If you see it already, or if you have or about to see it, or anything of that nature. So we're going into the last couple of days of the podcast every day in August. There's one other topic I have, and then I'm gonna give my full overview on Thursday. I truly will say thank you. I appreciate everyone who listens. The episode yesterday made me feel really special because there were 4 listens, and that was 4 listens and 4 downloads. So that said a lot for me. So I just wanted to at least get that out there and get that to the masses. And yeah, that's where I'm at, and that's what I wanted to share. So again, thank y'all for tuning in. I may have found my personality for the voice for the podcast, for the non-sports podcast. Sports podcast, I'm probably gonna keep it exciting, hype. We going all in. I forewarned some of you. There's a lot to be talked about this week, like last week. So we'll definitely chew on those topics as they occur. But since we're not there, and since we're ending Tuesday, I'm going to go ahead and close this episode tonight by saying good night, or good day, good afternoon, wherever, whenever you're listening. And y'all take it easy. The Paz signing out. Peace. Another episode complete. Another show shared. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you checking out any current shows or previous episodes. If you'd like to follow me on social media, you can look me up on the Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter under Paz Podcast. If you'd like to go to the website, it is available at pazpodcast.com, where you can listen to this episode as well as previous episodes. Until next time, y'all take it easy.